He's an Aussie.
Howdy.
Is there anyone from Texas, by the way? Barely say g'day, mate. My greeting to most people is howdy. But I don't say yow. Anyway, folks, as Vicky mentioned, my name is Ernie or Ernest. Now, before I start, folks, I'm going to ask you some questions first. Did you all have an enjoyable day at the Cultural Centre?
Yes.
Wonderful.
What about when you went up on Skyrail to Corenda?
Yes.
Over the rainforest canopy?
Yes.
Very much.
Guess what? Guess what, folks? I'm going to take you beneath the canopy.
All right.
How our ancestors once lived prior to Australia being colonised. Taking you on a journey, folks. Basically, me being born as a baby, reaching puberty, middle or latter teenage years. Whom am I taught by? Who does the majority of the teachings? Well, folks, I tell you what, the grandparents.
Oh.
Both maternal grandparents, and other elders as well. Why did grandparents teach the majority and advise the majority of the time?
Tradition.
Stories of the past.
Age, wisdom, their knowledge, most of all their experience. Mums and dads was out doing, mums and dads did a lot of discipline. Apart from dad out doing hunting, mum doing the shopping, fruits and nuts, they're responsible in doing the discipline. But I tell you what, talking about discipline, if grandma and granddad got older, you look out. They always carried around little sticks about this long, but a lot thinner. A switch. Right. Yes, they were very strict. Okay. In taking you throughout the steps, folks, the various skills that I'm taught, and being a warrior, marrying my promised wife, once again chosen by my grandparents. So I'll take you throughout those steps, folks, and as time gets on with me getting older, becoming an elder, what my grandparents taught me, and other grandparents, I do that cycle all over again and teach my grandchildren. With one exception, of course, if the great-grandparents aren't still living, because they would take seniority over me. So I'm going to take you on that short but brief journey, folks. Second half of the evening, probably about 5 or 10 minutes, is how I live today. Well, folks, have you ever wondered how we live today?
Yes.
Us Aborigines within Australia? Well, a good example. Take off this shirt, I put a casual shirt on. No, just like any normal Australian.
Yes.
Another one of the things is, I don't have a problem using these damn things and driving Mercedes-Benz as well. Best of both worlds. Some people say you can't have your cake and eat it too. I don't know about that. Also, folks, I'd like you to compare similarities, be it our weaponries of yesteryear, communication, such journals, in comparisons with other cultures, or in the modern world today with technology, some of the similarities. New. Old. When was the telephone invented, the landline? Late 1800s, early 1900s?
18.
Over 100,000 years ago. Here. This was our landline. Okay? And such. Weaponry. South America and various parts of North America, and they even formed a club in Arizona. Anyone from Arizona? Anyone know what this is called in South America and various parts of North? I'm going to keep you in suspense. Okay? So, folks, I passed around some leaves earlier. What did the first leaf smell like? You all smelled the leaf, folks?
Yeah.
Now, did you have your bush food medicine demonstration today, by the way?
Yes.
They spoke about the lemon myrtle for your flus and your colds, rub it onto your chest and your foreheads. Okay, you would heat up the leaves, of course. You built a fire. You would break off another brush. Green leaves, green wood on fire, it smokes. Heats up. You break off the brush of the lemon myrtle, you put that on top of that. The heat heats up the immature leaves, the oil concentrate, not hot leaves but warm. You just rub it into your chest, throat, your forehead, clear your sinuses, your flus and your colds. Another purpose for it, folks, a lot of our leaves are multi-usage. Cooking. When we cook the meat traditionally underground, wrapped it in bark, you would use the wild ginger leaves, add a gingery flavour going through the meat. Whereas with the lemon myrtle, you would use it mostly on fish and birds. So that's two ways I could use it, medicine and cooking. Third, well folks, now please, this leaf, please do not rub. Just feel the texture of the leaf, please. I'm going to take you back in time, folks. One thing I'd like to stipulate though, I do not live like this anymore. How I live today, what was the good old years I was born in 1960, the rock and roll era, I still rock and roll today. Yes. And did anyone go to Uluru, the Central Desert? No, you came straight to Cairns?
Yeah.
Folks, what I'm telling you about tonight is based solely, mostly on the Jabbergai tribe, which I'm a direct descendant. Okay? So folks, taking you back in time. First of all, there are 200 different tribes within Australia. 500 to 600 different dialect or language groups. The Jabbergai tribe, we have 5 neighbouring tribes with 5 clans within. The variation in language, I speak my own language, Jabbergai language, 5 neighbours would speak their own. Because of the trade relationship between us and them, we would have a common language. A good example. Your name, please?
Donna.
Don?
Donna.
Donna? Lady right down the end. Your name, please?
Eunice.
Eunice. I won't forget your name, my auntie's name, Eunice. So Donna is my neighbour. Imagine, non-returning boomerang, throw like a frisbee. I sort of come up with the, sort of a brain explosion, came up with the returning boomerang with the aerofoil. So I passed it on to Donna with our trade relationships, and she said, show me. Word of mouth, because Donna has a common language with
Bonnie.
Bonnie. Donna would tell me a bit about Bonnie's language, so I could possibly know about Bonnie's. Second, your name?
Lucille.
Lucille? Judy? The furthest I get away, I would not know the language. But imagine if Eunice heard about our returning boomerang. Ah, wow, we've still got the non-returning. Word of mouth, I would take about 50 of my elite warriors. Donna would give me about 50 as well. Bonnie, maybe about 30. If not, we would ask Eunice to come up here with their warriors to us or vice versa. Going to the language, knowing the second, third, fourth, by the time I get to Eunice, I would not know the language, but yet I would still use the most common language still used around the world today. And what is it?
Sign language.
Sign and body language. Sometimes, folks, it can be misinterpreted. Imagine you're 100 yards down the road. I get the sun in my background, walking up. Hey, wow, look at that guy. But you forgot to look at my legs. It's kinked. I'm relaxed. You come in closer still, I could be standing up there shivering. We all know the hand signal, right down to a common little thing called a... Get most of us males in trouble sometimes. Sure does. Now folks, just going with the tribes within Australia, 200 to 300 different tribes. Now some are patriarchal, others are matriarchal. Our rainbow serpent, you may have seen on the large mural today, it's our grandfather. The moon is the mother. The big bird, the cassowary, is the father. People have asked me, where's the grandmother? It's because of the variations in tribes. Some look at the rainbow serpent as being their grandmother. So some are matriarchal and patriarchal. People have said to me, it's fair to say that our Jabbergai tribe is patriarchal. I say no. And this is my own personal opinion, folks. I believe all tribes are matriarchal. Why? Well, at the end of the day, when Granddad went home, Grandma told him what to do.
Yep.
Guys, the clans within our tribe. 5 family clan groups. And I understood you seen the creation theatre today with the holographic images?
Yes.
Yes, we have wet and dry clan groups. 2 wet clan groups roamed along the coast from the Cairns airport, and I've gathered you've all been up to Port Douglas,
Yes.
roamed up and down the coast. 3 dry clan groups, well, they're up in the mountains, rainforest and open savanna land. Were our ancestors healthy people? Were they fit people and such? Yes, folks. What are the recommendations today of, say, dietitians, health fanatics, sporting elite of today, especially in having that nice, healthy, toned, trimmed down body with that nice, not keg, but 6-pack? Fruit and vegetables. Yes, folks. Cleansing and the flushing. Lean meat. Most importantly, exercising regularly. Yeah. Clans along the coast, they had the beach almond, nuts, berries, the pandanus, seen in the early 60s and able to eat solids. I eat kangaroo meat from then right up to today. You know what it does for me? Puts a bounce in my life. Did they stick to the same diet day in and day out? No, folks. They had no choice to change their diet. Why? It was as they followed their seasons. Totally different to our 4 seasons of today. Winter, spring, summer and fall. Seasons of yesteryear could have extended from 2 seasons, 4, 6, 8, 20 seasons within the year. An example of the wet clan groups along the coast. Well, they're sick of seafood. The fish aren't biting, they'd starve. So they would start to migrate inland. Say where you went this morning at the base of the mountain where Jabberguy. They'd be on a different variety of fruits and nuts due to the soil change, starting on small game. As you travel over the rainforest canopy, or they'd start to climb the mountains, going to an high altitude to Coranda, once again, changing fruits and nuts, soil changing, starting on larger games, cassowaries, kangaroos. So you're going from the coast to Coranda, they start to head inland. And that's higher still to the tableland. I guarantee this, folks, around now, it'll be a lot nippier up in the tableland and colder climate. Nice, red, rich soil, very good for farming these days. Okay? Once they went to the tableland, they are then told to head north. But hold on, who tells them to head north? Why, folks? They just travel to the edge of their tribal boundaries, which are riverways and distinguished landmarks, large mountains and rocks. Highly skilled fighting men patrol these boundaries. I personally call them elite warriors. And that is to patrol the boundaries to stop neighbouring hunters from coming in to poach in our area. Of course, say for example on the other side of the river, you'd have elite warriors stopping us and going into their boundaries and that. But if we wanted to visit our neighbours, well folks, tell me this. Some of us are so friendly with our neighbours, we don't even have to knock. Walk straight in their house, open up their fridge, make a cup of tea. Other times you would knock. Sometimes your neighbours tell you to get the hell off their property verbally, physically, sometimes bang, questions asked later. Okay? So what do you think, or how did we communicate with our neighbours back then? Folks, the bull roarer. Are we all familiar with the bull roarer? Bull as in cow, roar as in lion? Imagine where rivers narrows and trees overhung. It creates a tunnel. If I swung this along the river, I would see elite warriors at night. Why? They would have campfires. Throughout the day, they could be resting under a shade of a tree. I can't see them. Or just go on a bit inland, do some hunting. I swung this along the river, the sound would travel along the water. Which of those elite warriors there, they'd go to the other side of the bank, I'd speak a lot of common language. Hey mate, our elders would like to come across to trade. Okay? Now, near rocks, like say the Barron Gorge, and away from the Barron Gorge, folks, my first aim, or one of my first goals, is when I travel the States, I'm going to go to the Grand Canyon and swing this. Can you imagine a slight breeze? It would just reverberate off those canyon walls and travel for miles. And for those of you who may have seen Crocodile Dundee, you swing